talagang ano, malaki yung effort yung araw sa laban.
Opposing teachers.
How many percent? Confident are you?
200.
Marlon Tapales looked set to be one of the biggest threats to Naoya Inoue in the game. But standing up to the monster on paper and beating him on fight night are two very different things. Inoue versus Tapales looked set to be a real fight of the year contender. Tapales just went down to the wire with the mighty Murodjon Akhmadaliev, but in the end, the judges sided with his opponent. Inoue, on the other hand, had just secured a dominant career-best victory over Stephen Fulton Jr., and it was truly the most masterful performance of his entire career. This is fighting as art. Let's go. Was this the successor to the great Manny Pacquiao? Despite being a fellow Filipino, there were certainly some similarities. And if Inoue wasn't careful, he would be next in line for an ugly loss. Make no mistake, this was not going to be a walk in the park for Inoue. Fan anticipation was hitting a fever pitch by the time fight week came. Inoue was on top of the world at this point, and a win here would be a huge statement about his claim to the title of pound-for-pound king. But make no mistake, Tapales was dangerous, and if he managed to pick up some early momentum, he was more than capable of pulling off the upset. For Inoue, taking this opponent likely could have been his undoing. Only time would tell how these two would match up when it mattered most. The question of how this fight would look in practice was an enticing one. Early on, Inoue stalked his prey, unwilling to show too many of his cards at first. But as a bona fide fighting supercomputer, Inoue was clearly making reads. And when he started pot-shotting Tapales, it was the first sign that he was comfortable. It was definitely a feeling-out round for both men, but every minute you give Inoue to get his bearings is like handing him a huge advantage. But this fight would eventually open up, that's for sure. With the first 3 minutes down, Inoue was definitely taking things slow. The game plan for both men coming into round 2 build off of their round 1 performance. It might sound obvious, but these early rounds are crucial when it comes to asserting yourself and gaining your opponent's respect. Because if Inoue doesn't respect you, you're in trouble. Tapales seemed to be struggling with the major speed disadvantage he was attempting to fight through. But Inoue was not rushing in just yet, instead favoring a lower volume than usual. He was definitely picking things up a bit from the last round, though. But there was still quite a lot of room to improve for both men. Naoya stormed out there in round 3, looking to take the initiative early. He looked a bit looser with his footwork and more offensive in his stance. And even when Tapales attempted to pressure him, Inoue was slowly finding his flow. Speed really does kill in the boxing ring, that's for sure. It wasn't just speed with his hands either. His footwork and head movement were also light years faster. Tapales was surely starting to get frustrated by his opponent's superior skills. Inoue's cobra-like ability to counter was on full display here too. An opponent like Inoue is only going to get stronger as these rounds go on. Tapales was slowly finding out that he had a problem on his hands. Round 4 came next, and Inoue was ready to let the monster out, and he immediately gave Tapales a taste of what was to come. With his danger levels now fully established, Inoue began to assert himself more. Inoue was really loosening up now, that's for sure. Even as Tapales found his moment, Inoue was always a threat. Tapales was showing himself to be tough and determined. But Inoue's first huge moment eventually came. The bell would sound, giving Tapales a bit more time to recover, but this was a tough round for him. How would Tapales respond to round 4's disastrous ending? Well, Inoue knew he could hurt him now, which is a bad spot to be in for his opponents. Naoya knew his rival was in survival mode. Tapales has to be given credit here, though. He fought his way back into this round admirably. But even if he was showing his toughness and having his moments, it was still a tough assignment. And Inoue's confidence was really starting to show. Tapales was starting to learn what we already knew, that Naoya Inoue is not like other fighters. Round 6 and the halfway point of this fight came next. Cardio was never ever going to be an issue for a guy like Inoue, that's for sure. And his confidence generally starts to peak in these middle rounds. Though it was only halfway in, Tapales surely must have been feeling like it's now or never. Being in a position of desperation with an opponent like Naoya Inoue standing opposite you is not ideal. But this round, while still impressive for Inoue, would not be the one that brought us yet another brutal finish. Inoue came out looking as fresh as can be for round 7, and Tapales looked like he knew what he was up against. Inoue was stalking his rival now, eager to push his advantage further. Seeing Inoue bounding in and out of range like that is a truly terrifying sight. This was by no means a terrible round for Tapales, but that's about the best you can say. But it wasn't a disaster by any means, not yet, at least. Round 8 came next, and you could begin to feel the tension in the arena grow. Could Marlon use his experience to claw his way back into this losing effort? Making this a dirtier kind of fight might give Tapales his best chance of clawing things back. Inoue is not above taking a round off from time to time, either to conserve stamina or lull his opponent into a false sense of security. But he was still doing enough to remind Tapales of the danger that lay in front of him. And he made sure to get some solid shots in whenever he could. A quieter round, but the truly destructive part of this fight would be coming soon. Round 9 would tell us a lot about where this bout was headed. It seemed like every time Tapales had a moment, Inoue would remind him exactly why he needed to be careful. Inoue was closing in on his target, though. And after slowly building up his momentum, Inoue was beginning to really turn up the heat. Tapales just couldn't make his game work at range, and he seemed to be ineffective on the inside too. Naoya has a sixth sense about when his opponents are breaking, knowing when the perfect time to strike is. And you could feel something building here in round 9, that's for sure. But the knockout wouldn't arrive until the next round. Round 10 would be the deciding round in the story of Marlon Tapales and Naoya Inoue. Tapales wasn't just running out of ideas, he was getting pretty sloppy with his attack too. Inoue has a knack for seeing openings that most guys wouldn't spot, and sure enough, he was getting a whole lot of data here. Inoue's defense is often underrated by those who prefer to put focus on his power, precision, and speed. But the accumulation of damage became too much for Marlon in this round. And eventually, Inoue was able to break him, forcing the 10th round stoppage. An utterly dominant effort from the monster. When Naoya Inoue took on Gerson Mancio for the OPBF light flyweight title, it represented a big stage for the monster to show off his skills. If you're looking for the fight that gave Inoue the right to call himself the monster, Mancio was definitely a good fighter. But there are levels to this game, folks. How would Mancio's experience help him in there with a wrecking machine like Inoue? Judging off their demeanor here in round 1, it would be near impossible to tell that Inoue was the less experienced guy out there.
フィリピンのヘルソン・マンシオです。さあ川島さん、
はい。
この
Mancio wasn't shying away from engaging though. Inoue would need to tame him.
回は4戦目で日本タイトル、やはり区切りの一戦倒そうという気持ちが強すぎた、そんな話をしていた井上尚弥です。ちょっと
But Inoue is an incredibly good first-round fighter, and he immediately went to work.
ですね、やはり振り回して一発一発しっかり打ってくるっていうのが特徴。
ナイス
ナイスカウンター。
今も振り回してきます。
You can tell that Mancio was not enjoying the level of power coming back at him, not one bit.
いきなり
行きましたね。
さらに右。
あ、回しに来てますよ、
今日
マンシオ。
は打ち抜く右というのも
Inoue might have been young here, but he still had that insanely strong countering ability, and his fluidity of movement was already world-class.
ここも左から右、そして左ボディ右出てくる相手に右回していきます。
Simply surviving in there with Inoue was a challenge, but Mancio would find his way into round 2.
右のパンチ、さらには左のフック、ボディ。ここはアッパーを見せます。
Inoue was already in cruise control, and Mancio, even at this early stage, would need to make some real changes to keep up.
ペースを掴んで、そしてパンチを重ねています。ここは左、そして
Inoue was equally dangerous at range or up close and personal.
さあ決定戦です。降りてきた。ショートの右を合わせます。そして右、入れ替え左。
His ability to work the midsection is truly a joy to behold, and Mancio was already feeling it.
ここまで打ち分けてくると、これはマンシオも対応できないかもしれ
We
ない。
were already seeing Inoue start to get really comfortable in there, and when he starts hitting that flow state, you're gonna be in trouble.
引き際を打つんですね。
そうですね、はい。
空いてるところをそして狙ってると。
When Inoue starts sitting down on his shots, that's when you know he's really feeling himself.
そんな井上の姿が。
Mancio wasn't going to go down easy though, that's for sure.
マンシオ立ち上がります。さあ井上、右だ。ここで試合を決めに来るか。
Inoue made it very clear in round 2 that he was able to do damage to Mancio, and now everyone in that arena knew it.
2位のマンシオ、それに対して日本ランキング1位井上尚弥。ここで第2ラウンドが終了しています。
Even though we were only in round 3, Inoue was starting to really find his footing in this matchup. Gerson's corner likely already knew that their fighter was running out of options fast.
に向け井上尚弥はしっかり流れを作って、そんな自分の理想があると話しました。ただ
Mancio's wild swings were leaving him wide open for the counter, and Inoue is not the type of fighter who needs multiple invitations.
ここは右。ただちょっと川島さん、怖い。
Inoue was just so damn slick, totally tuned in to the task at hand.
今日はあえて接近戦も交えて、そしてこのマンシオと戦います。そう話していました。
Mancio wasn't ready to quit just yet, but Inoue was making him look really bad out there.
対して隙を狙ってそこを打ちましたね。
さあマンシオが下がり始めた。
Naoya was most certainly gearing up for something big here, and Gerson was already a shell of himself.
力というのが西岡さん、いいですよね。
非常に速いですよね。で、このマンション選手、非常にタフな。
How long could Mancio stand up to this? That was the question.
あとは時間。このラウンド残り時間がほとんどない。マンシオは耐えられるか。ここ
Inoue didn't take it easy on him in round 4. No, he had his prey exactly where he wanted them.
までは圧倒的なそのボクシングでマンシオを抑えました。
Naoya was able to control the distance with his jab and punish Mancio up close whenever the opportunity was there.
少しこの辺りはステップも使いながらというか。
You can't doubt that Mancio was still trying to fight, but that's just about the only positive mark you can give him.
テーマを設けている、そんな感じが井上からしますけれども。
そうですね、やはり、危ない。
Inoue was hitting his flow state, and it wouldn't be long until he found his big moment.
さあまずはそして左です。まず一つ井上尚弥にとっては左、そしてその左からの右です。ここも右。
There was a tension in the air as every member of the audience waited for the hammer to inevitably fall.
中では一つ今回見せられるのは打ち抜く右、その右のストレートが出るか。
When round 5 came, Inoue knew he had collected enough data to make his move. Jerson spent just over 12 minutes in there with Inoue, and he was already ready to fall.
世界とそんな言葉をしています。
もう本当
話しています。
にね、
はい
世。界に行ける内容ですよ、これは。
そうですね。そうすると史上6戦目で
Inoue was as sharp as can be, looking like he was truly inhabiting his monster alter ego.
日本人が世界王者獲得。これは最速。さあ第5ラウンド。
How long could this guy last with the fearsome Inoue? Well, as it turned out, not much longer.
さあ右出てきたところにうまく右を当てた。
聞いた
右
聞いたここでまとめる
左
Inoue's killer instincts are some of the best in the business.
井上がさあ前に出た。井上尚弥が前に出る。ロンドンを背負わせる。連打が続く。井上が
He's the type of fighter who tends to know exactly when the right time to go in for the kill is, and Manio had reached that point.
もっとまとめたいまとめたい
さらに出せるか。
倒れるまで
さらに右。残り30秒切りました。第5ラウンド。井上尚弥が出る。
The ref was eventually forced to be realistic about Mansio's chances, calling it off there and then.
マンションを下がらせる。井上尚弥世界に向け6ラウンドさらにラッシュを重ねる。ここでレフェリーが試合を
A totally dominant effort from Inoue. But what's your opinion on this modern day pound for pound great? Be sure to let us know in the comments below.